Hey everyone, and welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm Chrisley Kennedy, and this is the show that we bring you the day's biggest movie news with insight into what it all means. Joining me, as always, is AMC Movie News Senior Editor John Campea.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. Good morning, Chrisley. Just talking about how one of my favorite scenes in the whole Jurassic Park series, because we're going to be talking about Jurassic Park a little bit later, is that scene, I think it was in part 2, where kid looks in the backyard and there's a T-Rex and you see the dog leash hanging from its mouth. Love that scene. Awesome. Okay.
So rude. All right. And our special guest today from JoBlo.com, Jimmy O.
Hello. Yeah, I'm all about the animals getting killed. Apparently, that's a new trend in movies. Animals and children.
I am the odd man out. Well, guys, it's been a sad day for film fans. Yesterday, Roger Ebert, quite possibly the single most famous and influential film critic of the time, passed away at age 70 due to complications from cancer. Beyond being a film critic, Ebert was an author, publishing over 15 books, a screenwriter, and a Pulitzer Prize winner. John, I know you have lots of thoughts on Ebert, so let's share them.
Yeah, I'm wondering, I don't know if I was just in denial or what, but when I heard that Ebert's cancer, he was fighting again. He said he was going to take a leave of presence for a while. They was just going to cut back on his review schedule. I don't know why. I just had it in my head. Yeah, he's going to battle through this like he's battled and fought through everything else. And I honestly didn't think too much more about it. And then all of a sudden, after we finished shooting the show yesterday, and a lot of people wrote to me saying, hey, why didn't you talk about Ebert? Because we shoot the show in the morning, it gets edited post-production, and then it gets put online in the afternoon. And we heard about his passing after we were done shooting, and it shocked me. Look, I've talked about this on the show before. The most influential thing in my life, as far as being a movie fan, has ever happened is my first time going to see the original Star Wars in theaters. My mom took me, and that kind of set my whole life on a path of being a film fan. But Roger Ebert was one of the most influential people to me growing up as a film fan. I used to, whenever I could get the TV on and wait, they're talking about movies, and we'd see him, and for a short time before he died, I was able to watch Siskel as well. He was completely influential, and I've said this for a long time, not just because he's popular. Ebert was my favorite film critic. And I disagreed with his opinion on film at least half the time. But agreeing or disagreeing with a film critic is not why I like or don't like. If I can listen to a film critic that I agree with all the time, but I can think he's a horrible critic. I loved Ebert because he was so unique in the way he expressed. Not only he was a film scholar, but he was wonderful at articulating his viewpoint and his perception, his experience with film. And then he even he was so good at putting it in historical context as well. He was wonderful, and I really enjoyed continuing to read his stuff, ever since he had his operation. And there's just no other way of putting it. The film community has lost a giant, a real giant. And it shook me, and it's tragic to hear, especially as young as 70. It was just horrible. So anyway, Jimmy, your thoughts?
When I was a kid, I remember watching his show, and it was so amazing to me because I would see all these movies I'd never heard of, and whether they liked it or not, it was opening my eyes and opening my life to this world of film that I had no idea existed. And in all honesty, he was just as influential to me as the first time I saw Star Wars or the first time I saw Halloween or Evil Dead. He was the guy that made it okay to like movies, to love movies.
Yeah.
I went through my own denial because he was a fighter, and you always thought he'd be around and talking about movies, and it just saddens me beyond belief.
When he first had that one operation where he lost half his jaw and whatever, most people would become a recluse. Maybe but he wouldn't go out in public. No. You wouldn't think he would go out in public. He embraced it.
He became more public.
He became absolutely more public. Hey, I'm fighting this thing. This is what happened. Whatever, deal with it. And he was such an inspiration that way. The other thing is, I think a lot of us in this community don't acknowledge enough. Siskel and Ebert, when their show got popular, they were the trailblazers for taking the conversation about film on a mass public level.
Yes, absolutely.
And if it wasn't for guys like Ebert, we wouldn't have jobs today. Like, they trailblazed that about taking this conversation public and making the discussion about it a fan-centric thing. And, you know, we are direct in that way. We are direct descendants of Roger Ebert. And because of what he did and the fact that the film community and film fandom has grown the way it has, I think it has a lot to do with the fact that him and Siskel at the time and the smart producers behind them making that show popular, becoming the first real superstar film critics. There's just no way around it. You know, I read a great tweet the other day. The guy who directed Up in the Air and directed Thank You for Smoking, Reitman's, Jason Reitman, I think it is, wrote this great tweet. And I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but basically what Jason Reitman wrote was, still working today on the script, gonna work as if I know Ebert's still gonna read it.
Wow.
What a great way to put it, and I loved it. And no other way to put it. We could spend an hour sitting here talking about the influential Roger Ebert, but he will sadly be missed.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
As we've talked about several times on the show, director Brett Ratner is working on his upcoming Hercules film, which will star Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. What you may not know is another Hercules film is in development at the same time. Hercules 3D, which has found its leading man, according to reports from The Hollywood Reporter, Twilight actor Kellan Lutz will take on the iconic role. The film is said to be a love story at its core, as the mortal princess of Crete falls in love with the son of Zeus, even though she's been promised to the Greek hero's older brother instead. Jimmy, what do you think as Lutz as Hercules?
Now, before Jimmy goes into that, I'm just saying we're not having buy or sell today. In honor of Roger Ebert, we're going to say either thumbs up or thumbs down on these issues. So Jimmy, Kellan Lutz is Hercules.
Well, I actually like the guy. I think he's got charisma. I think he's a decent actor. I hate the Twilight movies. They're not meant for me. I'm sorry. If you like them, good for you. Thumbs up. But I think he's a good choice. Does the movie sound? It seems like they're gonna go maybe the more, appeal to that Twilight crowd maybe. So I don't know. I'm kind of thumbs down on the movie so far, but let's wait and see what happens. But hey, he's a good choice. If they're gonna make it for everybody, I think he's a perfect choice for it.
I gotta say, I'm gonna give this a thumbs down. I actually also like Kellan Lutz.
Okay.
I've met and talked with him a few times. He's and I said this before. During the Twilight franchise, I said, I guarantee you 5 years from now, out of all these actors and actresses in the Twilight series, the only guy who's still going to have a real functioning active career is Kellan Lutz.
Don't forget Anna Kendrick.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, dude. She's amazing.
Okay, no, she is. She is.
And she does a lot of good work.
But I don't know that I'd qualify her as one of the Twilight people, because she had a very tiny role in just a couple of the films.
Fair enough.
But Anna Kendrick, I'm a big fan of.
Love her. Love you, Anna.
But so I like Kellan Lutz. I like him very much. I actually liked him playing Poseidon in Immortals. I thought that was kind of fun.
He was fine.
Is he a great thespian yet? No, but I see him growing. But even with that being said, as Hercules, I don't see him as Hercules, especially when you got another Hercules film in production with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Hercules.
Yeah.
That's Hercules.
Yeah.
I don't see Kellan as this, and I don't like the direction they're going. I think you're absolutely right.
It's going to be a teen flick.
Yeah.
And sadly, at least
this one little description to me says we're going to go for the teen romance stuff again, and I think what we saw with The Host is I think the audiences want a break from that. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
As most of you know, Fast and Furious 6 opens in AMC theaters everywhere on May 24th. Last week, Fast and Furious star Vin Diesel said that Fast 7 was already green-lit and that production on the 7th film would probably start this summer. Many assumed that director Justin Lin would return for the 7th film, but according to reports, Lin has decided that the rush would not result in his best work and therefore has decided not to do Fast 7. John, do you think the future of Fast 7 will be hurt by Lin's departure?
I'm going to give Lin departing a thumbs up. Not because I'm glad he's going, but because I think it's okay that he's going. Look, I've said for a long time, I believe directors need to get away from franchises, because if you stay on the same franchise, your creativity can start to hurt. No doubt, Lin has given us the best Fast and Furious films with number 6 or number 5, I mean, and number 6 looks awesome so much. Hey, this is coming from a guy who hated the first 3 Fast and the Furious movies. That first one especially just being a blatant Point Break ripoff, scene by scene, total ripoff. But Fast 4 was pretty good, and Fast 5 was awesome. And I think Fast 6 is going to be great too. So I'm totally okay. It's unfortunate that he's leaving, yeah, but I think it's totally okay. I think it's probably good for him as a director because he's already done 4. Like Fast 6 will be his 4th film that I think he's done.
Is it? Yeah.
Or 3rd or 4th, I can't remember off the top of my head. So I think it's good for him to walk away.
I agree with you completely. I think he brought the series to life. Well, there were several elements that really brought that. I love Fast 5. It was amazing.
Yeah, so much fun.
It's a great action flick, and he really gave it a style, a new style, and something that I think we can look forward to with Part 6. But yeah, after that many films, I just don't know if, especially he says that he doesn't want to rush into it.
Yeah.
Which, you know what? That's the best thing for the project.
Agreed.
The movie that changed the game for a lot of filmmakers is once again in AMC theaters. Jurassic Park 3D is on the big screen again this weekend. Jimmy, are you going to see it?
Heck yeah. I don't, you know what? The 3D has its people, everyone hates 3D. A lot of people hate 3D. I don't care. It's a chance to see Jurassic Park on the big screen again. That's amazing to me. I can bring my son to see it in the theaters. That's amazing to me. So yeah, and I've heard the 3D is not so bad. I've heard it's actually pretty good. So that's one of those movies you go to and you feel like a kid again. Now if they can bring back Jaws to the theaters, not 3D though. I don't want to see that in 3D, but that'd be amazing.
I gotta tell you, I'm also not a 3D fan, but to see Jurassic Park again on the big screen, the way it was always meant to be seen, is amazing. You know, the thing about Jurassic Park, and actually there's a bunch of us going to go see it tonight. There's this scene that everybody talks about, of course, which is when they see the dinosaurs for the first time. When they look over this rolling hills and they see all the dinosaurs. And you know the most brilliant part about that scene, the reason it still hits us with that sense of awe and wonder, is not because the digital dinosaurs, although they were great and groundbreaking at the time. When you, from a filmmaking point of view, when you really watch that scene, everything Spielberg does in that scene is perfection. The certain camera angles, when he cuts to the face, how tight the shot is on Sam's face, when he takes those glasses off, everything about that scene that leads up and then crescendos with that rolling shot of the dinosaurs at the edge of the water and stuff like that. It is one of the most breathtaking, from a director's point of view, scenes I've ever seen shot. And so I'm, for that reason and 100 others, I am super stoked about seeing Jurassic Park again tonight. All right, folks, listen, we've reached that point of the show for Mailbag. If you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on air, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Every day we pull out a bunch from the mailbag and address them. We get an awful lot of email, so keep on sending your questions. If we don't get around to it, keep on sending it in. So what's going to happen right now is Chris Lee's got a few of them pulled out of the mailbag. She's going to share with us right now. So Chris Lee, what do we got?
I swear I didn't pick this one myself.
Okay.
But Joshua Allen writes, "Hey guys, love the show. All the women are beautiful. And John, you're awesome. My question is, why do you think they haven't made a Flash movie yet? And will there be one in the near future? Also, who would you cast to play Flash? I think Alex Russell, the cousin from Chronicle, would make a great Flash."
There was David Goyer, actually, who wrote the screenplays with Christopher Nolan for the Dark Knight trilogy and directed like Blade 3 and stuff like that. And I believe has had a big hand in Superman, the new Superman film as well. He actually wrote a script for Flash. He was working on developing a Flash movie. I think this is about 5 or 6 years ago. And I think it was in movement, and then it got killed. I think what we've seen right now is that Warner Brothers and DC are really hesitant right now about their properties. They kind of stumbled out of the blocks with Green Lantern. They're not quite sure what they're doing with Justice League. So I think Flash right now is just safely sitting on a shelf somewhere. Yeah. But I believe once Man of Steel is the massive hit that I believe we all think it's going to be, I think then you'll see Warner Brothers start dusting those characters off. Maybe then you'll start hearing a little bit more movement on Flash or Wonder Woman and stuff like that. As far as who could play him, I know it's completely stereotypical at this point, but I have always thought that Ryan Reynolds would be a great Barry Allen. I've always thought Ryan Reynolds would be a great Barry Allen.
Not going to happen, though.
No, you're absolutely right. It would not happen. But if you're going to ask me who would I pick, I know he's already been like 3 different superheroes, but I would personally pick Ryan Reynolds. What about you, Jim? What do you think about a Flash film?
I do think if Man of Steel is a success, we are going to see this world expand. I hope that they take from Marvel and really spend time and make these really good films and really, create the history and the mythology on screen, it would be amazing. I think we will see the Flash. I don't think Ryan Reynolds. I think Green Lantern ruined that. I actually agree with the guy from Chronicle. I think that he's the perfect choice, and he's a interesting new young actor that I think might be a good choice for it.
All right.
So yeah, I agree with you.
Tyler B writes, love the show, guys. Watch it every day. My friend and I got in an argument over the new Evil Dead because I said it was a reimagining and he said it was a remake. Which one was it, and what do you think of it?
Well, that's I think I can answer that, and I am the only one that's seen it. It is, as the director calls it, a rebirth. What it is really is, it's the best of both worlds. It's a sequel, in a way, because it could easily happen in that realm, in that universe, years later. But it is a reimagining. There is no Ash character per se, but there are these great moments, these little hints at the original, actually the first two films I found, and it's definitely more brutal. It's definitely more in line with the first, trying to be scary and trying to be more intense. There isn't that slapstick humor that I think a lot of fans love from the series, yet it's definitely kind of on the cusp of being both, which is kind of cool. And I would love to see more remakes taken with that care and that, energy put into it from the original filmmakers. Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell really believed in this project, and it shows, and its practical effects. It was beautiful to see that again on screen.
All right.
Yeah.
Collins G writes, hey guys, quick question. I really enjoyed the Hellboy films, and I was wondering if you guys knew if there's any chance of a third one.
I actually got together and had a chance to chat with Hellboy creator, I'm going to mispronounce his last name, I know, Mike Mignola. I believe that's how you say Mike's last name. And we talked about it, and I believe he said, no, they're done. I think there was some thought about it, but the second Hellboy film did not turn out as great, I think, as a lot of them were hoping it was going to turn out. I know that Guillermo del Toro himself was actually a little disappointed with how Hellboy 2 turned out. And Hellboy himself right now is kind of busy with Sons of Anarchy, which keeps him a little bit busy. So I loved the first Hellboy film, went crazy for it. I was not so thrilled with the second one, still liked it, but not thrilled with it. So I believe they're done with it. I don't think we're going to see any more Hellboys, at least not anywhere in the near future.
Well, Guillermo's so packed. He has so much. Oh my God, this is the busiest guy in Hollywood, and there's no way. I just don't think. I mean, he has so many projects he keeps talking about, that I don't think we're going to see.
His mouth writes checks that his the director part of him can't cash.
Which is fine. What makes him special, though, and I like that about him, is he's excited. He's a fan.
Yeah, and which is one of the best things about him.
Which is awesome. So I don't mind that he's like, oh yeah, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing it. And
I'm doing these 20 films in the next 3 years.
And only 2 of them actually get made. No, there's not going to be a Hellboy 3.
Yeah.
Victor G writes, hey guys, in 2006, I saw John's review of Clerks 2 on YouTube and have been following your work through the movie blog through to AMC. While I love the movie blog, I really am impressed what you've done with AMC over the last few years.
That's because of the awesome people that I used to have working for me, and now I have these guys.
My question is about the amazing Spider-Man 2 with Electro, the Rhino, and Norman Osborn, possibly Green Goblin. It seems like they are packing a lot into the new film, which we know didn't work out so well in Spider-Man 3. Should we be worried they are not learning from past mistakes?
No, I honestly, I'm not worried about this anymore, because remember, just because they have all these characters in it whose names you recognize, that doesn't necessarily mean they're all going to have big roles in it. Like, remember, any movie that you can think of has about 20 characters. They're not all significant characters. They're not all characters with names that you would recognize. But remember, you just know who this guy is in this universe. But just because they say have Paul Giamatti, who is playing the character that becomes Rhino or whatever, that doesn't necessarily mean Rhino is going to be a big character in this film, or that Rhino is even going to appear. Like, maybe they're just setting it up. He's there, he'll have a small role, and then in future films they're setting something up. So I wouldn't worry about anything like that. Plus, lots of films have had multiple villains, Spider-Man 3 not being one of them. Lots of films have had multiple villains that have worked just fine. You know? So, I mean, because you could look at Star Wars. Oh, my gosh, this Star Wars movie is going to have Boba Fett and Darth Vader and the Emperor and all these bad guys. Well, guess what? It can work just fine if you do it right. But I don't think Spider-Man's going to have like 5 big villains running amok all at the same time. That's just the way I see it. Jimmy?
Yeah, I'm hoping. I'm a little concerned myself, just because it does seem like we're trying to pack so much into these films and go overboard. But I do agree with you. I mean, one villain could be in it for 2 scenes, just hinted at.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think let's wait and see on that one, because I do think I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, I think the villain is going to be Electro.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be introduced and see a little bit of the other guys.
I agree.
I don't know that for a fact.
No, that's what I think too. That's what I think, absolutely.
Then we both can't be wrong.
I know, exactly.
Billy Denny writes, Billy Denny from Houston, Texas here. Love the show. It has become my morning ritual as I drink my first cup of coffee. I know there are a lot of ideas for Star Wars Episode 7, but what do you think of using the plot from one of the other comics where Luke Skywalker's severed hand is collected and used by the Sith to make a clone? Imagine a digitally young evil Luke, playing by Mark Hamill, as one of the main protagonists battling old Luke, even killing him, and the Luke, Han, and Leia offspring hunting him down. I think fans would love to see this happen. P.S. Get Kevin Smith on the show already.
Okay, first of all, let me address the last part of that email, because you would be surprised how many emails I get. I get at least 7, 8, 9, 10 emails a week of people saying, why don't you have Kevin Smith on your show sometime? Why not? Oh, yeah, because Kevin Smith's banging on my door, begging me to be on my show, and I'm just telling him no. Look, I've been on a radio show with Kevin, I think twice, but he and I have never actually sat down and had a conversation on our own ever. So I don't know Kevin Smith. I don't. I would love to have him. So let me throw it out there, guys who keep yelling at me for not allowing Kevin Smith to be on my show. If you know Kevin and you can talk him into coming in and being on the show, we'd love to have him. I'm a huge Clerks 2, one of my top 5 all-time favorite comedies. So bring him in. Okay, now let's get back to this Star Wars thing. It is a great story, the one that you're mentioning. But here's the problem. The reason I want to address this issue is this. We keep hearing people say, oh, just digitally make him younger. Just digitally make him younger. Oh, look, they did that in that X-Men movie. It's easy. It's easy. It's easy.
Don't forget Tron. Legacy.
Yeah, Tron. Yeah. But it's almost impossible. Look, that one scene that people keep talking about in X-Men 3, when a younger Patrick Stewart and a younger Magneto are sitting down, you got to remember, this is what they were doing. Yes, we are here to talk about your daughter, Jean. That's about the extent of it. And Jeff Bridges, the digitally youngified Jeff Bridges in Tron, was not that much more active. Doing this stuff is hard. Trust me, I come from a visual effects background. I used to work with a visual effects company. It is hard. And when you did, the more emotion, everything, the harder and harder and harder it gets. And to make a whole movie trying to make some guy look 45 years younger or 30 years younger, whatever, that is an expensive, long, hard, difficult project that you are just going to notice as an audience member at this point. Maybe in 10 years, the technology will be a bit different. But just right now, it's just not practical, Jimmy.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I kept thinking of Tron Legacy, and a lot of people had issues with how he looked. I didn't mind it. I thought it was interesting.
I thought it was interesting,
It was interesting, cool. But, yeah, you can't have an evil Luke Skywalker just kind of, hello, how are you? Hello, how are you? I don't think it would work. And as much as I would love to see that, I just don't think we're there yet.
No, in that one Star Wars prequel, where the first time we see Count Dooku have a lightsaber fight.
Can we just forget about that one, please?
But when he has his lightsaber fight, that was not Christopher Lee. That was another guy doing the lightsaber fight, and they just digitally put his face on him. But as you sit as a film fan, you're watching that. It's like, okay, you can tell something's not right. When the body's turning and the face, Christopher Lee's face is just... something's off, and you can just tell. And that's what we'd be left with right now if they try to do something like this, which is just not yet. Maybe in the future, but not quite yet. Well, listen, folks, we've run out of time. Thanks so much for joining us. Listen, while I've got you, before you do anything else, take a quick second and just click that subscribe button. subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's absolutely free, and it'll keep you up to date on everything going on in the world of movie news, and of course, our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AMC Theaters. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/AMC Theaters, and go out and see a movie tonight like Evil Dead or Jurassic Park. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for all of your theater and showtime and movie ticket information. It's just that easy. And listen, if you want an audio-only version of this episode, just look in the description of this video and you'll find links to our iTunes and our Stitcher Radio. I want to thank, as always, our lovely host, Miss Chris Lee Kennedy.
Thanks for having me.
The one and the only film critic from JoeBlow.com, Mr. Jimmy O.
Thank you so much. Yes, go see Evil Dead and rent the first 3, please. They're great.
And thank you to you guys. Listen, the most important part of the show is not what we have to say, it's what you have to say. Make sure you jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts on any or all of the topics that we discussed here today. Thanks again for joining us. Until tomorrow, my name's John Campia for AMC Movie News. Bye-bye.